Hey y'all, Lucia here, Program and Curriculum Specialist. I'm coming on here today to talk to you a little bit about our latest post on Undocumented Dreamers and the infographic that is going to be shared out very soon through the UndocuCarolina newsletter that digs deeper into this topic about who are documented dreamers, what are the barriers that they face when accessing higher education, and how can we better support them. So if you're listening to me and wondering, what is she talking about? Who are documented dreamers? I've never heard that term before. You're not alone. I actually heard about this up until only earlier this year. And so I think it is a new term that is not as commonly used. But documented dreamers are individuals who arrive to the U.S. as children or young adults under a temporary legal status. This means that they either age out of the status when they're 21, if they come here as a legal dependent of their parents, or their status just runs out. And so they have to either self-deport or figure out another way to find another permanent or temporary status. Nationally, it is approximated that there are around 250,000 plus documented dreamers across the U.S. that are at risk of aging out of their status. And so we wanted to shed light on this group of students because they're not talked about as much, and they do have a lot of barriers and struggles when it comes to accessing higher education, being that they are under a temporary legal status in the U.S., but that might be running out and they have to figure out how to stay or to self-deport, and navigating all of that process while trying to apply to college is really confusing, right? And folks might not know, how do I help you? You are not undocumented, but you might have to apply to college as an international student. How do I navigate that? So this is why we wanted to create some resources and bring some awareness to this category of students. So I don't want to give it all away, right? Because I want you to look at our post about documented dreamers, and I invite you to use the link in our bio to register for the UndocuCarolina newsletter, which will have more information and a bilingual infographic coming out soon about documented dreamers and how to better support them and what challenges they face. But I did want to take a moment to tell a little bit of my own personal story as someone who is a documented dreamer. So here I go. So my story is that I moved to the U.S. 12 years ago from Colombia, from Bogota, and we came over because my mom got a job, right? So I came over as a legal dependent on my mom's visa, and moving into my senior year of high school, my visa through my mom was about to run out, and so I was in the position of I needed to find a way to stay in the U.S. and how do I go to college? And it was really hard because when I was applying, I was not, eligible for in-state tuition. I could not fill out FAFSA. I had to apply to college as an international student, but it was really confusing, right? Because I had been here for 5 years. So it was really confusing for me and for the folks that were helping me to navigate this process about what am I eligible for, what am I not eligible for. And so there were a lot of barriers to me being able to access higher education, and going to college relied on merit-based scholarships more than anything. So navigating the college process brought a lot of barriers because of being neither undocumented, but are you international? What are you categorized as? What are you eligible for? And so those technicalities are the ones that we want to bring more awareness into with this infographic, just so folks know that people exist in this category, right? And it's not just folks who are Latine, right? Like people from across the world, a lot of Southeast Asian folks. This is beyond a Latine issue, but I think the piece that I want to bring most awareness to is the chronic stress that comes from navigating these immigration circumstances as stressors as a young person. And I want to be clear, I am not comparing by any means the documented dreamer experience to that of someone who is undocumented or documented. There are very key differences in that, right? That at the end of the day, a documented dreamer has the privilege of having a legal status in the United States. But what I do want to say is that there are similarities in some of the mental health impacts of chronic stress and chronic uncertainty due to immigration issues. And I think that's the thing that I want to raise the most light to, and just telling a little bit of my story, that as a 25-year-old who has been in the U.S. for 12 years, I have navigated 3 visa processes already, the uncertainty and the stress of trying to continue to build my life here while I've been living here and my family is here has really has really impacted me. And so I just want to shed more light to that, so we can hopefully have more resources and more stories out there about this experience. I'm gonna wrap it up because the sun's going down. But I just want to thank you if you've stuck with this and just listened to a little bit of my story. And I want to hear from you all. Is this the first time that you hear the term documented dreamers? Do you know people that are documented dreamers and maybe they don't know that term, right? I would say for myself, learning about this term has helped kind of validate my experiences and some of the struggles that I have navigated. And so I hope that this is just the beginning of the conversation about, who these students are, what they navigate, and what we can do to better support them and create systems in which they are cared for and tended to. So thank you again for listening. Hope y'all have a good rest of your day.